And if you're serious about learning how to make your own characters in 3D using Blender, check out the Gumroad version of this course, which is linked right below. It includes the final, fully textured and rigged lovechan.blend, downloadable versions of all the videos in this series as they're released, a low poly turnaround drawing that you can use to make your own original characters in this low poly style, which you can then 3D model using everything you've learned in this series. And it also includes a bonus video series that introduces you to all the basics of using Blender, meaning that the Gumroad version of this series is great for any skill level. And there's even more content getting added to this course soon. The price of the Gumroad version is going to increase when this series is fully completed, so by all means, if you're interested in this series, please click that link in the video description below to check it out now. So now let's model her waist. So to do this, all I want to do is press Shift plus A, Mesh, Cube. So Shift plus A to add menu, go to Mesh, then click on Cube there. Now that I have a cube in our scene, I'm going to press Alt plus Z to go into X-ray view. Then I'll press Edit to go into Edit mode. Then I'm going to scale this down with S. I'll go to the front view here, the front orthographic view that is, by pressing 1 on my numpad, which I could also do by pressing -Y up here. Then I'll press G plus Z to move this up. Then I'm going to scale it down again with S, G plus Z to move it up. And that's looking pretty good. So now I want to do something a little weird. So I actually want to place a loop cut in the perfect center of this model because we're actually going to mirror this model using a mirror modifier. We want to do that because this part of lovechan here is essentially perfectly symmetrical. And by mirroring this model, we don't have to do the exact same work twice, and it'll ensure that our model is perfectly symmetrical, which will make our lives a lot easier when we're texturing, UVing, etc. So to add a loop cut here, I'm going to go to the loop cut tool in edit mode. Then I'm going to click right here to place a loop cut right in the dead center. Then I'm going to go back to my select box by pressing W, and I'm going to go to face select by pressing 3 on my keyboard. So you can actually switch between selection modes in edit mode by pressing 1, 2, and 3. 1 is vertex select, 2 is edge select, and 3 is face select. And we want to be on 3, which is face select. So now I'm going to box drag like this and delete half of our cube. And again, making sure we're in X-ray mode so we actually delete the whole thing. Press delete on my keyboard and then go to faces. And I'm going to turn on screencast keys. They are not on. There we go. So now that half of our cube is deleted, I'm going to go to add modifier, search, and then type in MIRR to see that we have the mirror modifier here. And again, this modifiers tab is just the blue wrench icon. So just make sure that's the modifier tab you're on. So click on the blue wrench and then go to add modifier, search, mirror. So now we have the mirror modifier. We're going to go back to our 3D view by middle clicking out of that view and pressing Alt plus Z to see that our cube is now perfectly mirrored. So because I'm on face select here, I can just click on this face and start moving around and you'll see that. Oh, I actually have, okay, that's an interesting thing to point out. So this is called proportional editing. So if you're trying to move one part of your model and it seems like things are dragging along with it, you're going to want to turn this off. This is a really great, useful feature for Blender, but sometimes it can get turned on accidentally like I did here because the shortcut for that is O. So just click right here to turn that off because we only want to be moving one face at a time. So now you can see that we're only moving one face at a time, but with proportional editing on, we're moving like the whole thing, which we don't want right now. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to undo that movement. And as you can see, every move I make on this right side of the cube is getting perfectly mirrored to our left side, right? And that's why this mirror modifier is so powerful for saving time and keeping things perfectly symmetrical. So that's awesome. We're going to go back to the front view by pressing 1 on our numpad here. Then I'm going to go to the X-ray view once again by pressing Alt plus Z. Now I'm going to try to line up our cube with our reference here. So I'm going to go back to making sure I'm on the select box tool right here. Then I'm going to press 1 on my keyboard to switch to vertex select. Then I'll box select these verts, press G plus Z to move them down. Box select these verts, G plus X to move them over. Then I'm going to click on just these verts, or box select just these verts, and press G plus X to move them on in. Now this isn't lining up like I want it to, so to fix that, I'm gonna make another loop cut right here. And again, it's looking like, oh, it's only doing a loop cut on half of the model. But because we're using a mirror modifier, it's going to be perfectly mirrored on the other side, which is super awesome. So I'm gonna go back to select box by pressing W, box select here, G plus X, and there we go. It's looking pretty good, though this part still looks a little questionable. So I'm gonna place another loop cut right here. Press W to select box, box select right here, G plus X, and there you go. We also want to make this hole right here, but we're going to do that after we go to the other view to make sure that's looking good. So I'm going to press 3 on my numpad to go to this view, and we can see things are definitely not lined up properly. So I'm going to box select all these, press G plus Y to move them in. Select these top two, G plus Y to move them in. Select these top two, box select these top two, G plus Y, move them in, box select these, G plus Y, and move them in like so. Now to finish this off, I'm gonna go back to our front view by pressing 1 on my numpad, and I'm going to make sure that I have nothing selected by pressing Alt plus A, which is deselect all in Blender. Then I'm going to go to loop cut. So in order to make this hole in the shorts right here, I want a loop cut right here, and it's gonna mirror on the other side perfectly because we have this mirror modifier, which is fantastic. So as soon as I see this line right here towards the center, I'm gonna hold left click and drag that over to right here, then release. Then I want another loop cut right here so I can kind of make this shape only affect this area, because if I didn't add a loop cut here, it would kind of delete like all of this, which is, you know, we don't want that. So to place another loop cut here, I'm gonna wait for this line to appear, then hold left click with the loop cut tool and drag up like so. Then I'm gonna go back to select box, go to face select by pressing 3, then I'm gonna box select this area right here and then press delete faces. And now if I middle mouse on out of our view here and press Alt Z to turn off X-ray, this is looking pretty good. This looks almost exactly as I want it, except there's one issue in that there's holes right here, right? Which you don't want in shorts. So to fix that, all I need to do is making sure that I'm on edge select by pressing 2. I'm gonna select this edge right here by pressing left click. Then I'm gonna rotate around and press and hold shift, then select this edge. So left click this edge, then turn around, hold shift, click this edge, then press Control plus E, then go to bridge edge loops. So with both of these edges selected, press Control plus E, go to bridge edge loops, and now those edge loops are connected and sealed, which is awesome. So I'm going to select this edge, rotate around, shift click on this edge, and press Control plus E, bridge edge loops. And now you can see our shorts are done. So that was super quickly. We have the waist modeled now. So now let's model her torso. So to do this, I am going to spawn in a cube. So Shift plus A, mesh, cube. I'm going to press edit, press tab, go into edit mode, and scale this down. Front view orthographic by pressing numpad 1. Then I press G plus Z to move this up. S to scale it down, G plus Z to move it down. Then press Alt Z to go into X-ray view, like so. Then I'm gonna kind of want to line up this cube with this part of her torso right here. So I'll go to face select by pressing 3. Then I'll box select right here using my select box tool. Then I'll press G plus Z to move this down. S to scale it in. Select this part right here, G plus Z to move it down, like so. Then S to scale it in. So now that we have this part of her torso lined up like this, we're gonna press E and then move this up. Then we're going to press S to scale this out like so, so it kind of lines up with this part. Then we're going to press G plus Z to move it down like this. Then we're gonna press E again to extrude that up. Now let's go to the right view by pressing 3 on our keyboard, and we're gonna see that we have a little bit of a disaster on our hand. That's fine, we can fix this. So we will be in face select here, select these faces, box select, G plus Y, move those over. Box select these faces, G plus Y, just these faces, G plus Y, move them over. Then go to vert select by pressing 1, G plus Y, move this over. Vert select, G plus Y, vert select, G plus Y, and vert select G plus Y. There we go. Now I'm gonna go to face select, like these top faces right here, and then press E to extrude, and then press left click to confirm, S to scale these out, like so. Then go back to vert select by pressing 1, G plus Y. Then I'm going to go back to face select here, box select this face, like so. Then I'm going to press E, move this on up, S to scale it on in, press 1 to go back to vert select, G plus Y. That's looking pretty good. I think I want another loop cut here, so this kind of lines up. So I'll go to loop cut, wait for this to get highlighted, hold left click, drag up, release, go to W, sure I'm on vert select, select these verts, G plus Y, like so. Then I can see this isn't lining up perfectly, but that's fine. You don't need these things to line up perfectly with your concepts at all. It just needs to be like close enough, basically. So I'm going to go to front view by pressing 1 on my numpad. Then I'm actually going to delete half of this. So I'll go to loop cut, place a loop cut in the dead center of our cube like so here. Then I will press 3 on my keyboard and press W to make sure I'm in select box and face select. Then I'll box select all of these, press delete faces. Then I'll go to add modifier, search, then click on mirror. And just to save us time so that this is all perfectly mirrored. And then I'm going to press 1 so that I'm on vert select, then click on these verts, G plus X to move them over. This vert, G plus X to move it over. And that's looking pretty good. I'll select these verts, G plus Z to move them down a little bit. Go back to this view, G plus Z to move them up a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect, but that's looking pretty nice. So go to my 3D view here, press Alt Z. This is looking pretty awesome. It's just this part that we need to add still. So to add that part, all I'm gonna do is go to face select by pressing 3 here, click on this face, and then I'll press E to extrude up. And I'm gonna go to my front view, Alt Z to make this transparent, aka X-ray. Then I'm going to go to vert select by pressing 1 with my select box tool. Then I'm going to click on just this vert. So I'm not going to box select. I'm just going to click on this vert. So because I only want the vert in the front. Then I'll press G plus Z to move this down, like so. Now, if I come out of this view, press Alt Z, this is looking pretty nice. That looks like our torso, except this looks a little weird. To fix this, all we need to do is go to press 3 to go to face select. Click on this face. Click on this face, then press delete faces. And we also don't want this face, obviously. This looks weird, so press delete faces. And look at that. We have modeled our torso here. Now let's model her arm. So this is actually gonna be very, very simple. To do this, we're gonna press Shift plus A, mesh. And yes, once again, we're going to spawn a cube. Then we're gonna go to edit mode, front orthographic view, scale this down and try to move it in place. Alt Z to go to transparent mode here, back to that front view. Select this face. Actually, I'll select everything and just rotate it with R. S to scale it down to kind of get that close enough. Then I'm gonna box select so I can get this bottom face because I'm in face select with select box. Move it all the way to the bottom. Get this face, rotate it, move it like that. Then I'm just gonna add some loop cuts here. So I'm gonna go to loop cut, drag this down, loop cut, drag this down. Gonna go back to select box on vert select, move this over, move this over, move this over, move this over, and move this over, and kind of just line things up in the front view like so. Now my reference for the side view is kind of bad and useless. I'm gonna be super honest with y'all. You're gonna notice this as you draw on your own character references, like you'll just draw things that as you get into 3D, it'll just not make sense or it won't line up the way you expect it. And I'm just placing more loop cuts here. You can probably just guess what I'm doing at this point because it's kind of repetitive in a good way. So I'm gonna box select here, move this up, but yes. So now this is looking like basically perfect in front view already, right? This is looking nice. But if we like go to our side view here, it's kind of useless because this is kind of in perspective, which is not super useful for us. It's kind of useful for topology reference, but that's about it. So I'm going to go to back to our 3D view and press Alt Z to see how this is looking. And this is looking pretty good. The only thing that I can tell by looking at this is that I actually might want this in a little bit more. So I'll go to face select, pressing 3 here, select this and this side, and then scale on the y-axis in a little bit. Select this and this side and scale. Actually, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'll actually scale this out a little bit in general so it's more square. So I'll just select all by pressing A, press S, and then Y. Scale that out in general. Then I'll move this a little bit to the side because I can just tell by looking at this in 3D that kind of intersects in a weird way. So I'll just, with everything selected in edit mode, press G, then Y, G, Y. And that, my friends, is looking pretty good. We've modeled our arm. Now let's model the hand. Once again, this is pretty simple stuff. Shift plus A, mesh, cube, tab to go to edit mode, S to scale it down, front view orthographic, G to move the cube over, R to rotate the cube, Alt Z to go into X-ray mode, scale, rotate, move, rotate, and move. So now I'm going to try to line up these verts here, making sure I am in vertex select with select box, box like this, move, box select, move, etc., etc. Then from this point on, we're going to do something a little different. I'll move these back a little bit. Why not? But now I'm going to press 3 while with select box active to switch on over to face select. Then I'm going to box select this face right here and press E to extrude from this point. Now I actually want to press Alt Z to exit my X-ray mode because I want to do something a little different here. We want this to kind of converge to a point right here, right? And to do that, we need to merge these vertices, first the front verts and then the back verts on this cube. So to do that, I am going to go to vertex select right here, making sure I am not in X-ray mode. I am in, just plain no X-ray view, what I don't know what to call it, opaque mode, whatever. So select this vert right here, then shift select this vert, then press F3, which we have not done yet. This is like how you search to do commands in Blender, which can be very helpful sometimes. Press F3 with those two selected and then type merge. Then you're going to see this option, mesh merge at center. Click that option. Then click on this vert right here and shift click this vert right here. Press F3 again, and you should see merge at center right there. But if you don't, just type merge again, and you'll see mesh merge at center. Click that. Then press Alt Z again, box select these verts, and kind of line them up and make sure things are looking good here. Looks pretty good to me. Gonna go exit out of X-ray by pressing Alt Z. And that's looking pretty nice, but is not aligned correctly. So I'm gonna go to the side view by pressing 3, Alt Z for transparent, then Alt Z so it's opaque again. I'm gonna press G plus Y to move this over. And that's looking pretty good, though it looks a little flat to me. So personally, I'm gonna select our arm again, press Tab to go into edit mode. I'm gonna scale this on the Y-axis a little bit more. Again, you don't need to do this, but I want to because I think it'll look a little better. And I'm going to go back into object mode by pressing tab. I'm going to click on this object, press tab to go back into edit mode, press A to select all, and SY to scale on the Y-axis. Just make this a little wider because I think that looks a little nicer. There we go. So now we have our hand and arm modeled. Now let's model the neck, which is honestly kind of hilariously easy. So Shift plus A, mesh, cylinder. And this is gonna have like, 20 by default? It's gonna have more vertices than 3, but we want 3 vertices on this cylinder. So click right here where it says vertices and type in 3. Then for cap fill type, set it to nothing because we don't actually need that filled. And scale this way down. Then go to the front view here, GZ to move it up. Alt Z, S, GZ down, scale like so. They go to side view with numpad 3, GY, then SY, scale it on that axis, GY, front view with 1. It's looking pretty good. Then press Alt C to see what they were looking like here. That's looking nice. I will go to the front view, Alt C, box select all these bottom ones, and then move them down. Ooh. GZ to move them down a bit. And Alt Z again, and we might do some things to hide this a little bit more in future, but that's our neck. It's very, very, very simple. You don't actually need more than this for this kind of art style, and this is exactly what they do in Mega Man Legends, which is what this art style is very inspired by. So there you go. That is the neck. In the next video, we're going to model her face. Congratulations on getting this far. You've already modeled most of Love-chan. In the next video, we're finally going to be modeling the face. Remember to check out the Gumroad version of this course, which is linked in the video description below, and get it today if you want the absolute best value and bang for your buck on it. Please comment below and like the video if you find this series helpful, and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications and you never miss new content arriving on this channel. It helps a ton. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.